Hello, everyone. This is Megan,
And this is Alana.
and welcome to Tea Time Crimes. That was your best intro yet.
Suck on that, Gen Z. Was there a millennial pause? I don't think so. Yeah, I was ready. Yeah.
I'm thrilled. Oh,
Yeah.
man. I'm so proud of you. I've been trying to get you to do that for weeks.
Well, you just got to insult and taunt me, and then there you go.
Thanks, Gen Z. You're making a difference in my life, for sure. Now that I searched the millennial pause, of course, I'm getting all these targeted articles about what millennials are doing wrong, which is fun for my, self-confidence. Apparently, the way we pose for pictures is wrong.
What does that mean?
Did you see I sent you the article. All the poses we do tell people that we're millennials, like hand on the hip.
Oh.
Yeah, duck lips and from up above, like the selfie, which,
yeah.
Funny enough, I do none of those because I've never done duck lips. Doesn't speak to me.
No, not me.
My
either.
thumb's too short to do the selfie, so that never happened.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know. Maybe I put my hands on my hips. Maybe. I don't know.
I was never a hand hipper. Weird.
Is that a thing?
A hip hander. That's weirder. It just felt like a little too posy for me, but sometimes I do it if it's like a nice picture. But how else would you do a selfie?
Hands. They had their hands behind them.
Excuse me?
Sorry. For the pose. For the selfie, I don't know. It's amazing. They use their tongue. I don't know. No, I don't know how you do. I guess just a selfie at a normal angle, like down here.
I guess we do it, which is weird.
We do it up above
because we do it up because that's where you get the best angle.
Well, I mean, I say we, but I've never done it. So
I mean, you wouldn't do it below. That's not going to look cute.
You might if you want to accentuate the chin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. My millennial pause is bordering on menopause, so I'm not even going to try. I'm too old for this. I'm barely a millennial. You let me know what's happening.
You're a geriatric millennial. That's what my brother is.
Rude.
I know, it's so rude.
100% accurate. So yeah,
stupid.
Give me the salon pause and the Bayer's aspirin.
At least you're not an exennial.
What the heck's that?
That's Gen X millennial blend.
Oh, how do you? That would be younger.
That'd be older.
Are you?
That'd be no. That's older than you. That'd be in the born in the late 70s.
Oh gosh, yeah. No, I'm out of that group.
No, you're not an exennial.
I'm just an 80-year-old waiting to happen.
You're a millennial.
I've already started to embrace just saying, I'm too old for this. And just this year, and I like it. And I'm going to run with that for the next 40 years. I'm too old for this. It works for a lot of things. Like at work, I'm too old for this. Do what you want. I got stuff to do. Do what you want.
I just yell.
Well, you are passionate.
I am passionate.
That's for sure. Nobody's going to argue that. So anyway,
I want to bring up something I'm passionate about that came up before we started recording.
Go ahead.
You have 3 cups of liquid at your desk.
I have 3 drinks. Don't make it sound creepy.
It's not creepy. I didn't know. You're the one making it creepy. It wasn't creepy before.
I have my breakfast, which is a protein shake. I have my cup of tea that I've not yet finished. And because I'm recording, I have water in case I get choked up as a backup.
So for me,
here comes a rule.
If I'm having a protein shake for breakfast, I can't also have my cup of tea at the same time.
I don't usually either.
Okay.
But I was running late today, and I have now 3 drinks.
Well, you're really popular in the liquid community.
And the fact that I can see how much this bothers you. Like this fits into one of your rules. This is like a candle thing.
It is a personal rule.
Yeah, I know. You have a bunch of personal rules, and you like to impose them on me. You have, how many drinks can you have? very strict rules about Christmas and when it begins. Very strict and very judgy. Also, your rules about candles. Like, there has to be certain candles for certain seasons. You can't start one until another's finished.
Honestly, I've really fallen off that.
Thank
candle.
God. I'm so proud of you.
No.
I feel like I've made a difference.
And not in a good way.
Oh, see, exactly. That's what I was hoping for. I've made a difference in a bad way. That's what I was shooting for.
I've just lost focus on my candles. I mean, I really like them, but I just
well, priorities, that's what's important. Because when you're on your deathbed, promise you're going to be thinking, oh, I should have burned that cranberry blast.
Oh my
sooner.
God. What candle will I want on my deathbed?
Gross.
I got to think through this.
You got to plan it out, have it ready to go. It has to, because it's going to have to come up in the rotation naturally. Or
oh my God. Or I could put it in a little box and whoever gets to kill me or, like send me off can
whoever gets to kill you. What's happening on your deathbed?
I think.
Are you foreseeing your murder?
No.
This is too much true crime for you, girl.
I think it'll be something like nice, like something you'd want to go out smelling like, maybe like hills.
Yeah, you want to smell like the dead earth you're about to return to. And also, I'm sure most people, when they're dying, are thinking, oh, I wish I smelled good. That's like number one. Again, your priorities are on point.
That's what I'm here for.
All right. You said you had a tea today, weirdo. What do you got?
Yes, I do. I've been dying to drink it. I haven't had a sip. I have no caffeine in me right now.
Wow.
Usually I sneak a quick cup before we start, but I saved myself for you.
Yeah, that's disgusting. That didn't come out right.
Bewley's. It's Irish.
Oh no, here it comes.
Irish breakfast.
Buckle up, Dublin.
My favorite tea. And guess what? Not only is it Irish tea, it's a gift. Not only is it a gift, it's stolen.
Why are you saying gift like that?
Gift.
Gift. So intense.
Gift.
Okay. Wait, what's the crime here? Who stole this? What's happening?
Oh, I'll tell you. One of our specialist listeners. No.
Our special Linda listener? Our special Linda listeners.
They're special. She stole some tea from a hotel and mailed it to me. So you know who you are, and you're one of our biggest fans, and we love you, and I'm so excited to drink this.
I know who it is.
Yes, you do. Just put the little clues together.
It's my favorite almost best friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've met this special listener one time at Alana's wedding, and I love her.
Yep.
And I've never seen her again.
You guys fell in love. You guys are both comedians, so it's natural.
We have a platonic connection. Oh, special friend.
Thanks for defining that. So it's Bewley's tea, which is
I think she has
established. She does. He's great.
Yeah, I didn't want to step on his toes there.
I'm sure he would be okay. It was established in 1840. So this company's been around for a while.
Mary Ann Cotton probably used it once or twice.
Oh my God. Probably.
Yeah. Taste the arsenic. That used to be their slogan.
Yeah, I'll taste for it. Rich and invigorating, a strong, invigorating tea, rich in flavor and quality.
Are you totally disgusted that they used rich and invigorating double?
No, because I would say those are two different words. If they said lush,
no, that you just read rich and invigorating, and then you read the description, which included rich and invigorating.
They could have used that space better. I mean, I see where they're trying to break it up.
You don't want to be mad about it, but you know it's the same.
They see how they break it up.
If you're gonna be judgy on the other ones, then I see. It's just a slogan. It's just the way you read it.
It's a slogan. Yeah,
gotcha.
That's why I gave it a pass initially. But
this is a true crime tea. It's been shoplifted and sent.
Yeah. I mean, is there a better gift than a stolen gift? I mean, that's love. That's love.
I mean, probably. All right, well, taste it. That's enough of that.
All right, I know I'm going to like it, so I did my big cup.
Ooh,
it has a lightsaber handle, if you really care about that.
God, Nerdville 2000 over here. Did you put milk in it?
Of course.
I love I love the judgment. Just checking. Because you know why? Because this is an audio and nobody can see what you do. And so I'm just trying to help the listeners envision your stupid teacup.
Hey, it's great. It's not stupid. Yeah, I put some milk in it. It's like a light brown.
Okay.
And yeah, usually I do a small cup because I don't know if I like it or not. Can you imagine if I did the big cup with last week? Last week was so bad, I needed to do a good one. So.
Well, it's your own fault. You picked it. You force yourself to drink it.
Excuse me. It's for the fans.
Yeah. Here she goes.
Oh.
Ooh. That tea got a lot of shoulder action.
This is my cup of tea.
Nailed it.
It is. I mean, it's rich and invigorating, sure, but it has that depth, that maltiness that you find in Irish teas. And it just sits there. It hangs out with you. It's your bud. You know?
I guess, yeah.
So I mean, we're buds. We're in it forever until it's gone, I guess, when I drink it. But it'll linger with me even as it's gone.
Even for a couple hours. Cool. Yeah. So can we get a rating, please? You know what we want? Say it.
Thrusting.
How many?
2.
Yeah, 2. Wow.
Not many are going to get this. Yeah. But that perfect chai, absolutely. And this is just my go-to. This is, if you want to make me happy, Irish breakfast. It's what I love in the morning. It really starts the day right.
Awesome. 2 thrusting thumbs up again. And there's that word that I love.
Thrust it all around.
Okay. Well, you ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock. I got my stolen tea. I got my, that's about it. I'm good.
Yeah, that's usually all you have. I was wondering what else you brought today. You're going to have a love-hate relationship with today's episode. Yeah. So we're going to talk about Belle Gunness. She was thought to have murdered anywhere from 13 to 42 people.
Wow.
And she has some nicknames that are amazing. Hell's Belle, nice. The Indiana Ogress, the Mistress of the Castle of Death, which is the coolest one. But who's calling her that? It's not really catchy.
It's a long name.
And Hell's Princess.
God, these are great.
I know, really good. And Belle is essentially Jolly Jane and the Bloody Benders all wrapped into one lady.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And one of the books I read was by the author Harold Schechter, who also wrote the Jolly Jane book, one of the Jolly Jane books I read. Huh. And this is the best title. Ready? Hell's Princess, The Mystery of Belle Gunness, Butcher of Men.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to live up to that. Let me dive in to Belle's life.
Oh,
Belle
please.
was born Brunhild Pasdatter Storset on November 11th.
That was really good. Did you practice that?
Did I what?
Did you practice that?
No. Did I do it right?
That was amazing.
It's probably totally wrong.
Can you imagine if I did it? I mean, come on.
I could. Yeah, that would be good. She was born on November 11th, 1859 in Norway. I think we all saw that coming. And her father was a sharecropper, and he leased about an acre of land, and he had sheep, goats, barley, potatoes, basically just enough to keep his family alive and to keep them from starving. They were pretty poor.
And also gets cold there.
And I mean, I think they were poor because they didn't have money, but yeah, I'm sure the weather wasn't easy to navigate. He was a stonemason in the winter.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, but sometimes he also had to go on assistance because they didn't have enough.
In the 1800s, they had that.
I guess.
In Norway, they did. You know what? Well, you know what tea they could have been drinking?
What?
Bewley's.
Why?
Okay,
they're in Norway.
I know, but it could get around. It's the same time period. It's exciting. All right, please continue.
It's a leap. So Belle grew up working on the farm.
Yeah,
along with her whole family, right? She's milking cows. She's doing farm work. She's collecting wood to keep them warm. I mean, real dire stuff. Like Belle has to go out as a young kid and work, or they don't have milk, or they don't have fire. fire, even heat, but you know what I mean. When she's 14, she's actually hired out as a dairy maid.
Huh.
Which probably wasn't too fun.
Is that just milking other people's cows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm sure taking care of the cows and doing other things, but
giving them kisses.
I don't think that was in the job rec.
Okay.
But there are two different schools of thought about her. So her previous employers described her as hardworking and dependable and responsible, and they seemed to like Belle. But kind of like Jolly Jane, you know? But people who knew her described her as mean and a liar.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Now, there's a rumor that when Belle was 17, or her name, she's not Belle yet, Brunhild was 17, she actually got pregnant by a wealthy landowner. Then the story goes that this landowner kind of lured her to a meeting spot under the guise of, seeing her. And then he beat her so badly that she miscarried.
Ew. Butcher him.
Why? We don't know if this is true. It seems that it's probably not at least 100% true, but who knows? And then that man later died mysteriously from a stomach ailment. Yeah. Cup of tea, anyone?
Arsenic in his Bewleys.
Maybe. So I don't know if that's true. There's no way to prove it, but that is one of the rumors that circulated. It's interesting, though. I feel that stories like this, there's usually a little grain of truth.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if that did happen to her,
he deserved it.
Terrible. And it makes a lot of sense as to, an inciting incident that turned her into the world that she's about to embark on. But either way, when she's in her early 20s in 1881, Belle moves from Norway to Chicago.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Yeah, the trip, you wouldn't survive it. You would die.
God.
The
chamber pots.
Smells of vomit because everybody's seasick. The bathrooms.
Stop.
Bathroom is a generous term.
No.
It's basically just a stationary chamber pot. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
And they have very little food, and the food they do have is often stale or rotten. And it takes a minute.
It reminds me from that show that Cruises from Hell, where everything shuts down. It's basically that situation.
Great. So her older sister, who's quite a bit older, actually paid for Belle to come over to Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So when Belle gets there, she changes her name to Bella Peterson. So she'll get to Belle eventually. I'm just going to call her Belle for my sanity. And she did laundry and cleaned homes for other people. So she was a domestic servant, and most of her wages went to paying back her sister and her brother-in-law, or paying for the room and board because she lived with them.
Okay.
Now in 1884, Bella, or Belle, whatever you want to call her, Belle marries Mads Ditlev Anton Sorensen, and she then becomes Bella Sorensen.
So there's a Norwegian population in Chicago.
Yeah, there's a large Norwegian population.
I didn't know that.
No.
Oh, I really want to look into this.
You always have that. So surprised. You always say this. Like, I picture after every podcast, you're just scouring the atlas, looking for the demographic. You always say. Anyway, Mads is supposed to be a pretty nice dude. He's also a large man with a handlebar mustache, so I imagine he looks awesome. He's a night watchman, so security guard for a department store, and he seems like a good catch.
Great book.
Belle is also a large woman, which I mention now because it comes up often. One, because of her strength. There's lots of stories about how strong she is.
God, I'm so
and then
excited.
2, because it's kind of a distinctive feature. She's thought to be very, very tall, and then has a large frame that gets larger as she gets older, obviously.
Yeah.
So Belle is 24 when she gets married. Mads is, a few years older, normal, acceptable distance. I think he's 5 years older.
Pretty late for that time, no?
Yeah. And Belle actually is really good with kids, and she loves kids.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. So she actually, teaches kids, at Sunday school, and she has nieces and nephews, and she's really, really close to her sister's daughter, so her young niece, but weirdly close. Like, she wants the niece to be hers, and she asks her sister if she can adopt her niece. And her sister says no.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
And from that, the two sisters have a falling out.
Okay, Belle, That's a ridiculous thing to get upset over.
Well, Belle tried to conceive for years with no luck. And I think if that story is true, that's probably why she couldn't conceive. I don't know if it's true, though. But she really wanted to have children, and they had no luck. They tried for a long, long time. So in 1890, a baby girl was born to a friend of Belle's, and the mother was very sick. And Belle would take care of this little girl. Jenny Olson is her name. And she asked the mother if she could adopt Jenny when the mother passed, because the mother was not going to make it. And the mother agreed, even though she had a husband and other children.
What?
Because the baby was only 7 months old when the mother died. And I think the father just couldn't, he's got a bunch of other kids. They weren't rich people.
That's
and
brutal.
So the mother agreed. So Jenny comes to live with Belle and Mads.
Did Belle Jolly Jane the mother?
Oh, did Belle kill the mother? I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think she was legitimately sick.
Got it.
And actually later on, the father it's supposed to be like a foster care situation. So I think the father thought it would be temporary. So when the father remarries, he comes back for Jenny. Oh. And Belle's like, nope.
This mine.
She's mine now. They actually go to court and Belle wins.
Wow.
Yeah. So Jenny's with Belle. Jenny is Belle's daughter.
All right.
So Mads and Belle, they actually opened a candy store. And it sells.
I love candy.
Yeah. Sells candy and like newspapers, cigars, kind of basic goods.
Yeah.
It's not doing great.
Oh.
And a year after opening, it actually catches on fire.
Oh my God.
Belle said that a glass kerosene lamp exploded, but nobody could ever find the shards of the kerosene lamp. So nobody could prove it. But it seems like a reasonable thing that could have happened. So the insurance pays for it.
I see.
Yeah. Now, between 1896 and 1898, Mads and Belle have 4 children, which if you do the Megan math, it doesn't add up. And Belle's also in her late 30s at this point. So it seems unlikely that she gave birth to any of these children. But suddenly they have 4 children.
So they're snatching.
Or just making arrangements like she did with Jenny. But she acts like they're her own, different than she acts with Jenny. Like Jenny seemed to be a known foster care situation, but these are her children and she doesn't say otherwise.
These are hers from her blood.
She acts like she gave birth to them, but it doesn't seem that she did. Now, 2 of the 4 children died before 6 months. Which is common in that time period, right?
Yeah.
But they died from stomach ailments. And as we know from Marianne Cotton, stomach ailments mimic poison. So there are some questions.
Oh, God.
So Mads and Belle are getting by, and they have 3 kids. And Belle has always been obsessed with money. Her sister said that from the start, before, even when they had nothing, because poverty leaves some deep wounds.
Yeah,
exactly right. And it made a big impact on her, and she can't really adjust. It's getting worse as she gets older. So a Yukon mining company comes to the Sorensen house and asks if Mads wants to work for them. And he's supposed to go to Alaska for a year and look for gold. Can you imagine how dangerous?
That's going to be tough.
He's not like a 20-year-old at this point.
Right, he's in his early
Probably his early 40s. Yeah. So Belle can charge things to the company, and she gets money each month.
She's like, yep, you're going.
Yeah. And she gets a share in any gold that he finds. So Belle's like, this sounds perfect. I get money. You're not around, which they've been married a while at this point, and I don't think that bothered her at all. She's like, I'll catch you later. Bye. So they get ready. They invest in the company. They spend their own money to buy all his equipment. They are ready for looking at this as a real opportunity. And Belle's looking at it as a way for her to make quick money at, her husband's risk. Nothing really changes for her. But it turns out that was all a scam. The company was
what?
It was not real. It didn't have the money to do any of this.
Oh, so the scam was them investing in it?
The investment, yeah. And they'd actually put in their house up as collateral.
Oh, no.
So they had to go to court to win their house back and prove it was a scam.
But they did.
They did.
That's good.
Yeah. And then the house caught on fire. Burned down. Don't worry, it's insured. Phew.
It's very,
Get a little cash.
Second
Get a little quick cash. And by the summer of 1900, Mads is back working as a security guard. He comes home from work one day and says he's not feeling well. So Belle gives him some pain meds and sends him upstairs to rest.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Shortly after, he dies from what doctors claim to be a cerebral hemorrhage.
Whoa. But this doesn't make sense. He's bringing in money.
Well, here's the thing. Now,
life insurance.
Mads had a life insurance policy, and Belle had encouraged him to get one that was worth more. He had a $2,000 life insurance policy. She said, we need more coverage. Why don't you get a $3,000 life insurance policy? And he's like, okay, great. So he did. So he was letting the $2,000 one run out. There was, however, one day where both of them existed. July 30th, 1900.
My God.
And wouldn't you know it, that's the day Mads had his cerebral hemorrhage.
Wow.
So she got a double payout.
I still don't know because I don't know his wages.
Well, $5,000.
Would have been smarter to just let him bring money in for the rest of his life. Or get a quick cash grab now.
No, she needed the money. She has plans. We'll get to it.
At the castle.
So they asked some questions because that seems, I'm not a mathematician.
So they put that together.
Well, they're curious.
Okay.
And they're asking her like, hey, like what happened? They're kind of just trying to ask a few light questions. It doesn't really get past anything like that. And she says, I gave him whatever they used for pain meds at the time. I gave him some pain meds. Maybe I gave him morphine. Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
Oh, I don't know what I gave him. Oh, whoops. But they pretty much think it's just a freak accident and it just happened to fall on that day and she's clear to go. So Belle uses this money to move to LaPorte, Indiana in November of 1901, and she bought a 48-acre farm.
There it is. Build your castle.
That's a huge investment. So Belle is running this farm pretty much by herself. I mean, she hires help, but she's got her adopted daughter, Jenny, and she has her own two daughters, Myrtle and Lucy, who are probably adopted, but she doesn't call them adopted. And this is why I mentioned before she's very strong, because she's doing all this farm work still. And Belle would wear men's clothes and go out and work just alongside the hired hands if she needed to. And it's said that some people describe her as tall as 6 feet, 270 pounds.
Oh
she was probably estimated to be more like 5'8", but who knows? It's hard to tell. These are the stories that come about Belle's strength that crack me up. She would take a 200-pound hog and throw it over her shoulder like the butcher itself.
That's ridiculous.
Belle had an abundance of trunks around the house, and she would pick them up like a box of marshmallows.
A box of marshmallows.
Box of marshmallows. And one man said she lifted a 300-pound piano all by herself and casually.
Okay.
I know, right? And casually just said, "Hey, I like music at home." Just put it in the house.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, clearly she can't do that. I mean, if she could, that's unbelievable. But I mean, if that's where the story is getting exaggerated, she must be pretty strong.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So she's doing her thing. Now she hears about a man named, at this point, she's officially changed her name to Belle. She's dropped the A. So she's now Belle. She hears about a man named Peter Gunness, who she actually knew from before. He had boarded with her and her previous husband, Mads Sorensen. He had been a boarder because he's from Norway as well. And so he had temporarily boarded with them. So she knows him. And he got married. He came back to the area. He got married and had 2 girls. But his wife died giving birth to his second daughter. And apparently, Peter's quite a looker. Very attractive fellow. Okay. And so when Belle hears that he's newly single, she reconnects with him real quick. And Belle seems to have no problem with the men. Just attracted him left and right.
She's a charmer.
Yeah, she's got something going on. All these women do, right? They all have that in common. It doesn't even matter, like, if they're conventionally fitting the standards of beauty at that time. It doesn't matter. They've got something. They've got something going on.
A picture of her, by the way. I can't wait.
She looks like she's been farming all day and dealing with kids. She looks not happy. But again, pictures at that time, it's so unfair because you get one shot like each decade.
Also, you're not supposed to smile.
Yeah, I mean,
in those days.
it's just different. It's not like you have 100 pictures to choose from and you can choose the best one and color correct it. It's like, we got one shot, lady. Here's the flashbulb.
Yep.
Anyway, so her and Peter reconnect, and they did like the duo is very like people are gossiping about that because Peter's so handsome.
Yeah,
and they're destroying Belle's. Like they say things like she has grotesquely small feet, which is my favorite burn of hers.
You don't hear grotesque and small together.
Grotesquely small feet and a smile like a frog. And I mean, they just rip her apart. Anyway,
frogs have big smiles, but okay.
Yeah, do they? Have you seen a lot of frogs smile? Anyway, they're not complimenting her beauty, but nah, she doesn't care. Girl's got a plan. So on April 1st, 1902,
April Fools,
the couple get married. I bet he wishes it was April Fool's.
Oh no!
5 days later, his youngest daughter dies at home alone with Belle.
That's not okay.
Okay. Now, December of that year, so less than a year, Peter has a horrible accident in the kitchen. So Belle sends Jenny, the oldest daughter, to go and get help. She runs to a neighbor's house. When the neighbors arrive, Belle is beside herself. I mean, hysterical, really hamming it up. Belle says Peter went to the kitchen to get his shoes or to put his shoes up for the night, and the meat grinder fell from a shelf, hit him on the head, also knocked down some hot brine from the stove and burned the back of his neck. She tended to the burn, saw the cut on his head. He said that didn't bother him. It was mostly the burn. So she took care of it and brought him into, the parlor to rest. He was resting for several hours, and then he got up saying I should go to bed, and then he went into the kitchen to lock up or do whatever he does before he goes to bed, and he collapsed. That's Belle's story. There was an inquest because a couple things.
There's no earthquakes.
Well, there was a very deep laceration on the back of his head. And that's what had been the cause of death. His nose was also cut and broken, and Belle seemed to have no idea how that could have happened. The autopsy showed no burns, and there was a lot of blood in the kitchen where he fell, but there was no blood anywhere else. So if Belle's story was true, he would have been at least bleeding from the cut on the back of his head, and then he went into the parlor to lie down. There was no blood like on the pillow or the blankets where he was resting. So it seems like he didn't leave the kitchen, is how the evidence appears.
She broke his nose and slashed him.
I think she probably hit him in the back of the head with the meat grinder, and he probably broke his nose when he fell.
But like way harder than it just falling off a shelf.
Exactly, yeah. With some girl's strong. She's lifting a 300-pound piano. So, I mean, I'm not a physics major, but I imagine that'll do it. Now,
God.
They have this inquest, and so she repeats her story, said, she was making sausages, she put the grinder back up, said everything, there wasn't really a cut, it was just the burn, he woke up in pain, and then they also talked to Jenny, who's 12 at this time, and the oldest daughter, and Jenny says exactly what Belle says.
Because that's like, her daughter.
Yeah. However, it was rumored that one of the daughters, some sources say Jenny, but in the book, it's thought to have been Myrtle, the 5-year-old who actually said at school, Mama killed Papa.
Whoops. Why do you have children in the room when you're doing that? That's messed up.
Well, it seems spur of the moment. At Peter's funeral, Belle really put on a show. I mean, had her hands over her face, moaning and carrying on, but people said that she would often crack her fingers.
Stop.
To poke her,
nope. Stop. That's creepy.
Poke her eye through, kind of to see, is it working?
Stop.
Am I going to get an Academy Award for this? Do you guys believe me?
Oh my God. She's cracked.
So not long after Peter died, Belle suddenly has a baby boy, and she pretends that she gave birth to it again. So here comes Philip.
What
I guess it's
happening?
Supposed to be Peter's. I don't know. Now, Peter's 5-year-old daughter is still with Belle. Remember, he has 2 daughters. One already has passed away, but he still has the 5-year-old with Belle after his death.
Oh.
And Peter has a life insurance policy, and it's supposed to go to the oldest daughter. Swanhild is her name.
Mm-hmm.
So her uncle, Gust is his name. Her uncle Gust visits Belle to make sure that the money was actually given to Swanhild. He wants to make sure she was taken care of. Well, Belle says the insurance was actually transferred to stock. And he says, great, let me see the paperwork. And of course, Belle can't find it. I don't know where it is. It's insane. So she asks Gust, like, hey, why don't you stay on and help at the farm?
Oh, no.
And he's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. What a good uncle.
One morning, Belle wakes up and Gust is gone.
Did he take the daughter?
He said he didn't like the look in her eyes, and he jetted first thing in the morning, and he took Swanhild with him.
Yes, that is an uncle. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's
he
awesome.
Saved her life for sure.
Oh, what a good uncle. Good job.
Yeah. He just took her. He's like, I'm not dealing with this. And doesn't it say something that Belle didn't come after her?
Mm-hmm.
Like she was like, see ya. Bye.
Yep. Wow. Good for him.
Now Belle starts putting out ads for hired help. So in 1905, she places an ad for farm help, and Olaf Lindblom answers. He's from Norway. She seems to
makes sense.
She seems to put these ads in papers where Norwegian immigrants would see it. He writes home that him and Belle are going to be married soon.
Oh boy.
And then Olaf disappears.
Yep.
So Olaf's father writes a letter inquiring, and Belle's like, he left. He went on a trip. I haven't seen him.
Nope.
Then in 1905, Henry Gerholt shows up to take Olaf's place. And he suddenly quits, Belle says, but he leaves everything behind. All his clothes, his trunk. He has a very nice fur coat that Belle just starts wearing around outside.
What?
Yeah. And 1905 of the summertime, so that was April. By the summertime, neighbors start noticing that Belle's just getting constant visitors, male visitors, who seem to stay for a while and nobody ever sees them leave. They just don't see them again.
So is she seducing them and they hang out and have a little honeymoon period and then meat grinder?
Well, she starts with the hired help for a minute. She does a few hired help ads.
Right, that's how it starts. But then she deduces him.
Girl's about to transition. Yeah, and use her, play to her strengths, which seem to be seduction. So these men are just not, she says they're her cousins. And they're visiting, and then they're gone. Now she starts posting in Norwegian language papers, hoping to really play up to the homesickness that some of these men might be feeling. And this is one of the, there's two sources posted 2 ads. I'm going to read both of them. The first one's probably the accurate one, but the second one's my favorite. So the ads read, a woman who owns a beautifully located and valuable farm in first-class condition wants a good and reliable man as partner and same. Some little cash is required and will be furnished first-class security. So that's one of the ads. It kind of reads like a business proposition, but maybe more. This is the other one. I don't know if this one's accurate. This one's in the personals. So the first one's in the wanted ads. This one was said to be in the personals. Comely widow who owns a large farm in one of the finest districts in LaPorte County, Indiana, desires to make the acquaintance of a gentleman equally well provided, with view of joining fortunes. No replies by letter considered unless sender is willing to follow answer with personal visit. Triflers need not apply.
Oh my God, I love it. It's like a Craigslist ad nowadays.
Yeah. So she's got the ads out, and what she would say, then these men are answering. Belle's getting 1 to 4 letters a day, FYI. That's what the mailman says. You got to trust a mailman, right? And she's writing these guys. She's got a whole thing going, and basically, she plays to their strengths, paints this beautiful picture of her farm. I mean, it is a nice property. She has a big house. She'll cook them their home-cooked Norwegian meals.
You're not going to make it out alive.
Right? She's really playing up to him. And then she basically has the same, once they start to trust her, she basically says, I'm sure she said it better than this, but basically says, sell everything, bring your cash, sew it into your undergarments, and don't tell anybody where you're going, because we want to keep this a special secret, keep the passion alive.
Oh, no.
So that's what she tells all of them. So, I mean, their undergarments are much bigger than, today.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd only be able to bring a dime. You'd be dead for. I'd be a millionaire. But anyway, so that's what she tells all of them. So she starts getting all these responses. Like, people are like, this sounds great. George Barry left home with $1,500 in cash for a job to marry a Norwegian immigrant. Herman Konitzer took out $5,000 and left for LaPorte to marry a rich widow. Wow. Christian Hinckley sold his farm, headed to LaPorte, marry a rich widow.
So this is just based on this ad that they are doing crazy stuff for.
No, well, then they correspond back and forth. I mean, it's essentially like online dating.
I mean, selling your farm to go. Okay, wow. Wild.
Emil Tell, who's from Osage, Kansas. Sound familiar? He's dodging the bloody benders to go marry a rich widow with $2,000 on him.
No, you never.
Ollie Budsberg sold his farm to his sons, headed to LaPorte to get married with $1,000. John Moo went with $1,000, headed to LaPorte. So these are all, they don't know what happened to all of these men, but these are the men who have told their families that they're doing
I have
this.
a guess.
Yeah. So at this point, Belle has a farmhand named Emil Greening. He notices all these men coming and going, and that's who she said, oh, they're my cousins. But they all brought trunks, and they all left them behind. She has a room full of trunks.
No, but where are the bodies? If it's a bloody bender situation with the bodies, I quit.
Then I'll get you tomorrow.
God.
So in 1906, Jenny is now 16. And unfortunately for Jenny, she's gorgeous. She has this beautiful blonde hair, beautiful skin. There is a picture that floats around that sometimes people think is Belle as a young girl, but it's not. It's Jenny.
Huh. Well, she's very, her niece, so they could look alike.
She's not her niece.
She's
not.
Oh my gosh, she's right. She's just a foster. So how would they look alike?
It's just they don't look alike. It's just a mistake, I think.
Okay.
Because it's often tagged incorrectly.
Oh my god.
Because there's a picture of Belle when she's younger, and that she looks much sterner than Jenny,
as we can imagine.
Yeah. So she actually becomes friends with the farmhand Emil. They're buddies. They chat. No, I don't think it's anything romantic. I think she actually has a romantic interest in town.
Oh.
But they're just friends and they talk a lot. And then one day, Jenny's gone. And Emil's like, hey, where's Jenny? And Belle says, oh, she went to college in Los Angeles. Yeah, I sent her off. And the man who was dating Jenny was like, hey, I haven't heard from Jenny. What's going on? And Emil's like, hey, can you give me Jenny's address? And Belle says, oh, I'll just forward it. Just give it to me. And so Emil actually quits because he never hears from Jenny and he doesn't like working there without her.
Okay, but I feel like Jenny was the only safe person.
Yeah. Well, she's gone now.
No.
Well, she's at college. Don't worry about it.
Ugh. UCLA.
So nobody hears from her. So Emil quits in 1907 because he doesn't want to be there if his buddy's not there. And he's replaced by a man named Ray Lamphere, who is...
Well, you're not going to last.
Oh, he's going to last. He's here to the end now.
Oh.
He's here forever. He's settling in. Other farmhands and Ray say that Belle would come to their room at night.
Jolly Jane.
No, not come to the room to poison them. Come to their room to be with them. Can you guess what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, very passionate lady. The last victim that we know of for Belle, and the one who kind of became her undoing, was a 49-year-old Andrew Helgeline, who was a wheat farmer in South Dakota. He sounds interesting. He had a record. He'd spent some time in jail for arson and robbery, but he was described as pretty sensitive and like a hard worker who had, I don't know. It's interesting that he seemed to be kind of...
Had a few missteps, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a lot easier to get put in prison for robbery those days.
Surely.
But they had been writing to each other forever. Belle had been working on the long game with him. They'd been writing constantly for over a year, starting in 1906.
Wow.
And Belle is sending these, I mean, whoa, girls got it, just gushing letters.
Sexting?
I mean, I guess like the 1900s version.
I'd love to see that.
She's saying things like, we shall be so happy when you once get here. My heart beats in wild rapture for you, my Andrew. I love you. Come prepared to stay forever.
Oh my God.
Ugh. Yeah, gross. So, I mean, I guess that's like as hot as it gets. So by the fall of 1907, he's still not there. He keeps putting it off. Finally, in January of 1908, he arrives. So Andrew arrives, and Belle's like, hey, Ray, it's been fun. Get your butt out of the room. This is for Andrew now. Bye. And he has to go like sleep somewhere else. So Ray's a little put out. Like, what the heck? In fact, I think Ray thought that they were a couple and that he was going to get to marry Belle and own the farm. Owning the farm is like a big deal.
Okay, got it.
In this situation. That's why all these men are, a lot of the men are responding to the ad because not necessarily Belle, but because of the farm. Ray is like, fine, whatever. So Ray's going, he can no longer sleep in his own room. So he has to sleep elsewhere, but he still got up in the morning to go do what he normally did in the kitchen, like make himself breakfast and get started for the day. And she sees him talking to Andrew and she rips him apart. Like, you're not allowed to speak to Andrew. Get out of here. You're not even like allowed in the house anymore.
Oh my God. Gonna piss him off.
Yeah, Belle just lets him have it. Ray does not love this.
No.
But whatever. So Andrew was supposed to, remember, sew all his cash into his underwear, but he didn't. He had brought certificates. And so Belle's like, all right, well, let's go to the bank. And Belle had to wait for that to be turned into money. And the bank teller and Andrew both thought it would be best to put those into cashier's checks. But Belle insisted on cash.
And that's where he's going to sniff something weird.
So she insisted on cash. They finally get them turned into cash. They go home. No one ever sees Andrew again.
Yep.
Okay, I think we're going to have to pause here. This is a long one, so it's going to turn into a two-parter. So we're going to leave you here with poor Andrew and just undies full of cash and never seen again.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah, itchy, I would imagine.
Chafe.
But we'll be back next week. We'll do part 2. We'll finish up, find out.
We promise.
There's a lot more. A lot more happens here. There's a whole nother mystery that unfolds for old Belle.
Oh, boy.
But what do you think so far? What are your feelings for this gem?
I think she has some issues.
That's an understatement.
And I'm worried for everybody around her.
Yeah. Don't you think, do you wonder, Jenny's the one that bothers me the most so far. I know the theory was because she turned into this great beauty and she was kind of harshing Belle's game. But do you think that's it? Or do you think that she maybe saw some stuff and Belle was worried that she was going to
I don't know.
Tell.
I think it might be part of that too. Like, remember when the farmhand pieced out and stuff? It's just...
I mean,
I don't know.
Jenny's at an age where she might decide, I need to say something. I've seen some stuff.
Yeah, right. How old was she? 16?
She's
17?
16 when she went to college, air quotes. I mean, she's seen both of Belle's husbands die. And she would also be seeing all these, visitors and responses to these ads. And she's old enough to maybe have some questions. And she's in the house too. So she's, I assume, at least hearing things.
I bet you she did. I bet you she did. She confronted her mom and it didn't end well. And she went to college. Quote.
Yeah, she went to college.
Go Bears.
Poor Jenny. Jenny's the one that bothers me the most.
Yeah, that one was... Me too. I really thought she was safe.
Yeah, just give her back to her dad if you're going to pull this crap. Her dad wanted her back.
I know.
Yeah, not a fan. All right, do you have any last words for us?
I have 2 things. I'd like to update my rating of the tea from 2 thrustings to 2 solids because and this is not a downgrade. No. It's not a downgrade. It's not a downgrade. No, it's not. It's not.
You can't have parallel ratings.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, just like you can have parallel friends. One who is very energetic and one who is always there for you no matter what.
That's not how rating systems work.
Because this tea is here for me no matter what. And so it gets 2 solid thumbs that will never leave. The chai gets 2 thrusting thumbs that, when you go up, you will go down and disappear. So they are equal, but in different ways. I just want you to know that.
I don't think you understand how ratings work.
You know what? This is my rating, and you're going to like it.
All right. Well, I certainly prefer the word solid. So here we go. 2 solid thumbs up. All right. What's your second thing? Quit.
Don't sell your farm for someone you've just sent letters to and from, even if it's over text or Tinder. Just don't.
You know what's sad is a lot of these men, like Andrew, didn't. Like he literally just went there for a week to kind of see, which seems safe enough, you know?
And maybe stay in a separate house and like just visit, go on dates in public.
Yeah. And maybe if somebody demands cash.
That's a red flag. Red flag.
No thanks.
Red flag. If somebody asks you to stuff your underwear with cash, don't do it.
Unless you're dancing.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Then it's just practical.
Yeah. Then you can go for it.
Yeah.
Hey, we need to give a shout out to our original special listener who sent us those amazing handmade cookies that were works of art.
Incredible. Like actually, the design quality is superb.
It was so good that I wondered if I could eat it. Do you know?
Yeah.
I was like, is this still like edible?
I've eaten like 1 or 2, but I don't really want to because they're so cute and pretty.
Cute. If you haven't seen them on our Instagram, they are little teacups looking shocked, probably from the stories they're listening to. Cookies that say "Tea Time Crimes." Little
it's just
teapots.
Incredible.
They're awesome.
Like seriously, that was above and beyond. So thank you to our special listener,
our original special listener, our OSL.
OSL.
All right. So rate, like, subscribe. Listen wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find us on.
Tell all your friends and your pen pals and your fathers, your uncles.
Yeah, your bank tellers.
Tell your uncles, your brothers.
Yeah, your underwear suppliers.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. The trunk suppliers too.
Yeah, your farmers. Yeah.
Yeah, all the farmers you are in daily contact with. Please tell them.
You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we're actually getting emails, and it's the most thrilling moment.
I know, it's so exciting.
Yeah, so send us story recommendations or tea recommendations or just to say hi or whatever.
Yeah.
Or to give Alana some advice, whatever you want to do.
Excuse me?
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. And we will be here next week with part 2. Bye.
Ooh, goodbye.